Hello, this is JD from Techcanvass, and in this video, we will look at agile prioritization techniques. We all know that prioritizing work in a product backlog is one of the product owner's responsibilities. While you can rely on a gut feel, such an approach usually puts your project at risk. So, in this video, we will discuss the most common prioritization techniques and methods and then outline their main features. We will start by talking about Moscow technique, then we'll talk about 100 points, and then we'll talk about Canon Analysis, and finally we'll talk about relative prioritization. Before we jump into the video, a quick intro about myself. I am one of the project management instructors from Techcanvass. I have around 15 plus years of experience in project management. I am well versed with both waterfall and agile methodologies. Moscow. The Moscow prioritization scheme, which was popularized by DSDM agile methodology. It derives its name from the first letters of the following labels: must have, should have, could have, and won't have. Won't have is also sometimes referred to as would like to have. Now, what is must have? Must have are the requirements without which a project will fail. They must be delivered within the time frame in order for anyone involved in the project to move on. In essence, they make up the minimum viable product, also known as MVP. It is also sometimes referred to as minimum usable set. You can see from the diagram that a maximum of 60% of the total effort is dedicated to fulfilling the must-have requirements. And then we have should have. Should have requirements aren't 100% necessary for delivering the project, but they are the most nice to have out of the list. They may be less time critical than must have or might be better held for a future release. You can see in the diagram that the must have and should have requirements together comprise the business case, and altogether a maximum of 80% of total effort is dedicated to fulfilling the requirements of must have and should have. And then we have could have. Now could have requirements are just nice to have. They are desirable to provide a nice user experience or customer experience, but they are not that important to the delivery of the project. They will be delivered only if there is enough time and resources to spare or devote to them. Otherwise, they are likely to be tabled for a future release. Now, there is no point in talking about won't have, since we will not be considering them as part of the upcoming release. The next technique we'll be talking about is the 100 points. This technique was originally developed by Dean Liffingwell. We all know him from Scaled Agile, and Don Widrig. This was developed for use cases, and it is one of the ways to prioritize features. So in this method, each team member is given 100 points, and he or she can use to vote for the most important requirements. The team member can distribute the 100 points in any way: 30 points in one story, 20 points in another, or he can put all the 100 points into a single story if he or she thinks that that story is most important. Let's look at an example. Let us consider a project where we are developing a new user interface. In this case, we have 4 modules: the login page, the registration page, the forgot password, and home. So using the 100 points technique, we would ask various disciplines, stakeholders, to distribute these 100 points among these modules based on how they think is of priority. Let's say that developers have given these points for these modules. They have given 20 points for login page, 35 for registration, 10 for forgot password, and 35 for home. And then the QA has given these points: 35 each for login and registration, 20 for forgot password, and 10 for home. Now you may be seeing a difference in the allocation because the QA feels that login and registration are of higher priority. They were given a larger number of points. Now this can be used as a means to debate within the team and come to a healthy conclusion which modules deserve higher priority. The next technique we look at is Canon Analysis. This technique is used to classify customer preferences into 4 categories. Before that, let's see what we have. We have 4 quadrants. On the rightmost side, we have needs have been fulfilled for the customer. On the extreme left, we see needs have not been fulfilled. Likewise, at the top, we see satisfied, and at the bottom, we see dissatisfied customer. Now, if we take our features that we are targeting, you can place them into some of these categories. Right? One are delighters. The feature can be delighters. And then we have satisfiers. And then we have dissatisfiers. And then finally we have indifferent. So let us look at each category. Delighters, these features deliver unexpected and high value, highly innovative features to the customer. Whereas satisfiers are those features which bring value to the customer but are not something that they have not expected. And dissatisfiers, they are the features that will cause a user to dislike the product if they are not there, but will not necessarily raise the satisfaction if they are present. And finally, indifferent, these are the features that have no impact on customers, whether they exist or do not exist. We should try to eliminate these features as they do not add value, and we will end up spending effort developing these features. The next technique is called relative prioritization. Now, I personally favor this technique because it is very simple. A good example of relative prioritization is your stacked ranked product backlog itself. So you can prioritize the features in your list based on relative priority. You can rate the priority either 1, 2 or 3 or medium, high or low, whatever works for you. Now, if you look at this list, you have prioritized list of features in the descending order of priority. Feature A is of highest priority, feature B is of second highest priority, and so on. And at the bottom, you see something called budget cutoff, which means that any features further would be crossing the budget cutoff and would be pushing the project towards being over budget. Now, you can define the MVP based on what you need. If the features A, B, and C are good enough to provide minimum useful functionality to the customer, we can together group them as minimum viable product. Now, how does the relative prioritization come into play? Consider that a new high priority feature was identified in the middle of a release, and then you have identified that the priority is somewhere between feature B and feature C. What you do is that you reorganize your prioritized list and arrange the feature F between B and C. Now you can see that you have accommodated additional work into your release. And somewhere you need to trade off because you will be running on budget and cost limits. You can clearly see that the lowest priority item, feature E, have been pushed beneath the budget cutoff. Now there are other techniques which you can use. Dot voting or multi-voting. Here every team member gets a predetermined number of dots to distribute among the options presented. Or in some cases, they rate every feature on a 5-star rating from 1 to 5 stars. And then you have monopoly money. Here, the team members are given monopoly money equal to the amount of the project budget and ask the team members to distribute these funds among the system features. And finally, we have WSJF, which is an acronym for Weighted Shortest Job First. It was borrowed from SAFe Lean Agile framework. It suggests scoring each feature by dividing the cost of the delay by job duration. So it is somewhat similar to value versus complexity, but provides more mathematical guidance for you to prioritize. So at Techcanvass, we provide an Agile Project Management course. We have comprehensive introduction to Agile fundamentals. We have a detailed overview on various Agile methodologies. You also get to learn end-to-end Agile Project Manager activities. And the course also covers 21 PDUs needed for PMI ACP certification. So what do we do at Techcanvass? We are an PMI Authorized training partner and IIBA Endorsed education provider. So our training offerings include prep courses for business analyst certifications, project management, and domain trainings. We have question banks for you to practice various questions. We have full-length simulation exams for you to experience the actual exam. And then finally, we have flashcards and crossword puzzles for you to practice various topics before you go to the exams. If you are interested in any of these certifications, please reach out to us. If you like this video, please share and subscribe. Thank you.